Hello everyone, this is Mike D. I'd like to address something before we get started, and that is the passing of Anton Yeltsin, the main actor of Odd Thomas. What happened to him was tragic and sad, and our condolences go out to his friends and family. The thing I wanted to address is that we had this podcast done for the past 3 weeks, and I don't want to misconstrue that we might be using his death to try and gain some extra attention. So you won't hear us mention his death at all in the cast. Again, our condolences go out to his friends and family. And again, thank you for listening. Take care.
This is the captain. We have a little problem with our entry sequence, so we may experience some slight turbulence and then explode.
There is no spoon?
Why a spoon?
Because it's dull, you twit. It'll hurt more.
Welcome to the party, pal!
You can't fight in here. This is the war room.
Hello and welcome to Somebody Told Me to Watch This, a movie podcast for those in fear of credibility. If this is your first time with us, I'd like to say welcome. If you're returning, I'd like to say thank you. But as always, if you learned anything from us, it was purely accidental. I'll be your dollar store medium today, Mike D, and I will call a group of the dead to join us. The ghost of Christmas future, Jenny D.
Hello.
The Fisher-Price evil cultist, Janos P.
Hello.
And the American ghost who won't stop screaming in German, Britt K.
Hello.
And today we're going to go over a film that's a little odd, Odd Thomas. Based on the novel by Dean Koontz, this movie adaptation was suddenly released, like a ghost it portrays, but it never left a mark. Does it need to remain forgotten, though? This was my first time seeing this movie. How about everybody else?
First time, yeah.
Mine too.
Third?
Wow.
Do you like this movie that much?
The first time I saw it, I was sick, so I didn't remember much of it. Then I saw it the second time, I'm like, hey, this wasn't too bad. So.
And then the third time for this cast.
Yes.
Did it leave you with any weird fever dreams afterwards?
No.
Oh, how boring.
Yeah, he sat with it a third time to see it with me for my first time seeing it. So he probably didn't have to see it for a third time. He just ended up watching it with me. So
What was the overall feeling of this movie with everybody?
it was interesting. I liked it.
Yeah, I liked it.
I thought it was okay.
Yeah,
About you, first time number 3.
It reminded me of the, I can't remember the name of the movie, but it was with Michael J. Fox. And
The Frighteners?
Yes.
Ah. That was more
Oh.
satirical. This was serious.
Never
Yeah.
seen that one.
I think I've actually seen that one, The Frighteners.
Yeah, I like that movie.
Mm-hmm.
That movie quite surprised me. Thinking of Michael J. Fox, I was expecting a completely different movie before I watched it. But sadly, no Michael J. Fox in this one. Instead, we have Wesley from Star Trek as Odd Thomas. I liked him. He did the job. He was a little shaky sometimes. Like, he felt like definitely this was one of his first big roles.
Right, more of a leading actor rather than being a supporter.
Yeah. I think this was his only film that he was actually the main character.
I don't know him from any other films.
Mm-hmm.
He's like a supporting cast of the Star Trek films, the pilot in them, who has the only Russian accent in space.
Yeah, I've actually have not seen the reboots of the Star Trek movies, so I'm not even familiar with him from those.
I'm not a big fan of Star Trek. Those movies are okay. They're not offensive to anybody. They're
entertaining.
Yeah, they're action films.
Yeah.
Well, in this film, he pulls double duty. He's also the narrator. Or
Yeah.
voiceovers, which there's a lot of in this movie.
There are.
Yeah, it's going over, explaining what he's doing or prior events. Like, one of the first times you see it is when he's talking about his past and his mom and dad's relationship.
Yeah. Which his dad, I thought his dad was Willem Dafoe, like the police chief in this,
Yes.
first off. Because he kept calling him...
Son.
Yeah.
I
But
thought
he-
so too, until about halfway through the movie. And then I was like, oh, this isn't his dad. Because then he asked about his dad, and I was like, yeah, okay, I guess he's not his dad.
He's just referring to son as a...
Yeah,
Just,
like an affectionate kind
yeah.
of.
Oh, then I'm really confused and didn't
You
catch
thought
that
it was his
because I
dad?
really thought that Willem Dafoe was his dad.
Which I was surprised Willem Dafoe was in this.
That's actually, when I was going to watch it for the first time, was one of the things that made me watch it.
I had no clue. I've seen this box and this displayed on Netflix forever, and I had no idea he was in it.
Yeah.
But what about Odd Thomas himself? Like, did anybody... He had the crazy mother, which we talked about. What was his powers exactly? I like everybody's opinion, because I kind of got them a little...
Ability to see ghosts?
Some ghosts, not all.
Yeah, I feel like he had the ability to see ghosts and like sense, maybe even sense when death was coming in a person.
It seemed like it was ghosts that died badly. Like ghosts that were... People that were murdered came to him
Or
to...
not even just murdered, just died traumatically.
Yeah, died in a traumatic way, came to him so that
Closure.
to get closure, so that the person who killed them could be punished.
Sequel to The Sixth Sense?
So
'Cause that-
perhaps
Or like the Ghost Whisperer, the movie. Remember that TV show with Jennifer Love Hewitt, who could see the ghosts and like cross them over?
Yeah.
Oh, it's
I mean,
been-
he's alive. He's not dead, but it kind of reminded me of this one TV series. Oh, I can't remember the name of it now. Dead Like Me.
Oh, that... No, that wasn't
No,
Kevin
not
Smith.
Dead
That
Like-
was Reapers.
Yeah.
Not
Dead Like Me...
Yeah, Dead Like Me.
Yeah, it
The
was a
group of- the group of
Hulu show,
Grim
I believe.
Reapers. The
No, that I don't remember.
Group of Grim Reapers that meet up in like a coffee shop or something, and they have to go around and pretty much help like these spirits find closure. It's people that have died in traumatic ways, and
Yeah.
sometimes it's by like doing something similar to what he's doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but even then, he didn't really see only people who died horrible deaths. I mean, if you think about him, when he just, I think, is able to see ghosts. For example, I think, what was it, the gym teacher that died in a car accident?
Oh my god,
Oh yeah,
that
but
was that was
wouldn't
my
you call that
favorite
traumatic though? That
one.
he got hit by a truck head on. I mean, you
And
don't
wasn't
call
that-
that traumatic?
Wasn't that
was
the
my
guy from The
favorite one.
Mummy?
Yes, Arnold Vosloo.
Yeah, he was the mummy. I
He
was
was
like,
the
is
mummy.
this what happened afterwards?
And that was
What is he
that was
doing in this
hilarious
film?
Because he's carrying around the arm that got severed from his body, and he's waving it around. He's making a funny face and shoves it up his nose.
Just to be like, what? Why was it him though? I couldn't understand that. I'm like,
I have
okay,
no
why?
freaking clue.
This guy is a big name. Well, he was a big name actor at one point, and like
Big-
him and Defoe are in this, and I'm like, what the?
Yeah.
How did they get these people?
Big-ish name. I think The Mummy was the biggest thing he's done.
The director of this also did The Mummy,
So
and
Well, there
The
you-
Mummy, and
there
The
you go.
Mummy, and The Mummy. I think he did 4 Mummy sequels.
sure, why not?
Yeah, it could almost be a contractual obligation also.
No, I think he's doing it just
No,
because he's friends with him.
I think they're just friends. I think
Maybe
he
he's
just, I think he
did it
just
for
likes
laughs.
Arnold.
Yeah.
What do you need me to do? Oh, you're gonna take this prop arm and just
You're gonna have 2
fun.
scenes. You're gonna get hit by a truck, and then you're gonna take your severed arm and shove it up your nose.
Go nuts with it.
The other ability that he had was
Magnetism,
Yep.
Well, not
ghost
really.
magnetism.
They just called it that. He just had this like supernatural ability to be able to
To
find
wander.
people. I mean, he found them by wandering around, but it was
Find-
more like
find
he
what
was
he's
trying to
looking for.
find a person that he was looking for whatever reason.
Yeah, only those who are associated with death.
Right.
But
Bad stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did he have any other powers besides those two? Well, he had that weird power where he could view your dreams, like a psychic thing that he showed later in the film.
Yeah, that was weird. It seemed like he had a lot of premonitions, like dreams. A lot of his, if he had bad dreams, they would come true.
But I feel like it would only happen like if you had a dream and nobody died in the dream, then I feel like he couldn't use his ability. You know what I mean? I think it was all kind of centered around death in some way, you know.
And I think a lot of it wasn't so much as seeing the other person's dream, but just relaxing them to reimagine or relive their dream.
That's true. It was kind of ambiguous about who was remembering the dream, whether or not it was him or the girl.
Yeah. With that, I always thought, like, at the beginning we see that he has that premonition with all the bowling alley workers when they're carrying him and they get shot and everything, and that weird vision he has.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah, I kind of liked that it was that kind of like, oh, crap, things are supposed to But, like, with that, why did you need the girl to imagine that and him to imagine it? I thought it would be him having these weird visions throughout the movie, like it'd be a constant theme, but it only happens that once and then never again.
Well...
Yeah, they don't really seem to keep up with the theme that he's odd. It just seems like he's very...
He's not odd. He's loved by everyone in this movie.
He's not odd. He's deadpan throughout most of the movie. He's just kind of blank throughout most of the movie. And yeah, it's weird. Most of the people in the town really do like him, and if he really was
every girl wanted to get with him.
Extremely odd and weird, you think he'd be ostracized by the town.
No, he's loved by every man, woman, and child.
And it seems to be known by at least a handful of people that he's got these weird powers.
Yeah.
So...
Well, it seems like 3 people definitely know for sure, and then 1 kind of figured it out on her own.
So you would think that it would somehow have gotten around that he's weird, or he thinks he has powers, he's weird, he's
odd.
He's a nut job,
Yeah.
and his name is Odd.
Oh, it's Todd.
He's weird.
Oh, I thought it was Thomas.
No,
it was supposed to be Todd.
It's Odd Thomas
his last
is his
name is
name.
Thomas.
Odd Thomas is his name.
No, but his first name was supposed to be Todd.
On his birth certificate, right. It was supposed to say Todd. Supposedly.
Todd
right.
Thomas.
Well,
Todd Thomas.
You said he delivered all his lines kind of like deadpan. Do you think that was the actor's choice or the actor's ability, kind of?
I don't know, though. But not even the delivery of his lines, but like the expression on his face a lot of the time.
Yeah, it was just very...
Yeah.
I guess eventually, once you see enough weird things, like the Bogarts, for example, it's like, well then, I don't think there's much
Bogarts?
Or was it?
What were those called?
The Bogarts? A bunch of 1920s actors are haunting me! Nothing but
No, what were
Casablanca is crawling on the walls.
What were those monster ghost things called?
The Bodaks?
Bodaks.
Yes.
Close enough.
The Bogarts?
Close enough. Humphrey Bogart.
Yeah, just everywhere.
Humphrey
That would be
Bogart's
great if they
everywhere.
were all wearing a fedora and like a trench coat walking in.
It's possible. Who knows? Could have one of those fancy
Cigar
ones.
hanging out the side of their mouth.
But I mean, he did kind of express fear whenever he saw the Bodaks and whenever he saw anything that was kind of out of the ordinary. So, I mean, I wouldn't say he was deadpan.
Not really, but I don't know. It's just...
I mean, he just kind of didn't have very many expressions. I mean, fear,
Yeah.
fear was kind of it. And, fear and then, like, love for the girl and then just,
Yeah, I felt like in the movie that almost, I don't know if it was a fault of the script or to help him, like, instead of showing us something, he would say it or he would narrate over it. Like, there's one example where the first time you see a Hellgate, for lack of a better word, in Fungus Bob's. Yeah. Bob's house. Like, he's sitting there, he sees all that stuff emanating from the bird room, that he finds that weird room of his, and instead of him, like, going for the door to run out, he just stands there and, like, this is the point where I should run. And then he walks forward. Like, instead of actually showing us that he's, like, hesitant and goes to the front door, stops, and then realizes he has to go, he just delivers the line to do that job for it. Like, it's telling us instead of showing us his emotion.
It's like fourth wall breaking, kind of.
Yeah, all his narration was.
It's strange. It's like, are they doing it on purpose? Is that the way the book is written? Is that the way the narration is in the book? I'm curious.
I don't know. I've never... Anybody read the book?
Is the book...
No, I didn't know the book existed, honestly.
It's based on a book. Is the book written from a first-person point of view? Is that the way he speaks in the book?
I bet this movie is only an hour and, 40 minutes. And they're sticking a lot. Like, all his narration is just exposition. And half the conversations at the beginning are just exposition, telling you how this works, what the world's doing.
So, I mean, if that's the way he talks, if that's the way it is in the book, and they're trying to stick with it just for the sake of fans of the book, okay, sure, fine, why not?
But it's a very odd choice to do that. It's almost like they're...
It's strange.
They're trying to condense as much as they can within that hour and a half to get you up to speed, or else things wouldn't make sense.
Right. And if you think about it, there are a lot of different movies that do something similar, like something bad is happening and the character even says something along the lines of, I should be running right now. Like, right now, why am I not running?
But then I'm sorry.
And then they would either run or they would just say, screw it, and dive headfirst to their death or something.
Yeah, I'm almost wondering if it was meant to be like a comic relief kind of thing, that, he says that and then it's supposed to get a laugh from the audience.
But it didn't feel like the atmosphere didn't feel like a laugh.
I kind of
I think they were trying to be serious at that point.
Yeah, it was trying to be odd. There was definitely they were going for comedic moments, but
I think I chortled or
chortled.
Yeah. I think I was kind of chuckled, I don't think I laughed out loud, but I think I kind of went
chortled when a word chortled.
Smiled. I think I smiled to appreciate the comedy, but I mean, I don't think I laughed out loud. It wasn't hilarious. But,
well, with all that voiceover and all that explaining us the world, I almost felt like this was more of a TV show than a movie. Like, this was just, here's a TV series, let's condense it into, 2 hours. It's almost like they aimed for a TV series at the beginning and realized they couldn't get the budget for it and just made a movie instead.
It's possible. I mean, if you think about it, what ghost TV shows are out there now?
There used to be a lot, like Jenny said, Ghost Whisperer, which is almost the same premise.
It was definitely the same premise. It was the ghost showed up and said, "Hey,
help me with my problem.
Help me with my problem. Cross me over," and then address the problem, cross them over. It was the same exact thing. I mean, these ghosts definitely crossed over when they found their killer, or when they, the killer was brought to justice or whatever. I mean,
except these ghosts couldn't talk for some reason.
Right? They couldn't talk.
Yeah, actually, I think
the dead don't talk.
The dead don't talk.
Don't know why, but they don't talk.
Another instance of him saying something that we could have just figured out on our own, I guess.
What is it? I think the Odd Thomas actually came out a very long time. No, 2003. My bad. I thought it was very early. I thought it was in the 90s that he came out with it.
He seems to know a lot about ghosts, but he feels the need to antagonize a poltergeist.
Yeah.
And incites it to blowing up a building.
Well, I like how he didn't even notice that it was a poltergeist at first.
No,
I definitely was sitting there going, he's dead. He's definitely dead, dude.
But he figured it out when he encountered...
This is Fungus Bob.
When he encountered Fungus Bob's ghost in the house, and he's talking to him, and he says, you can't hurt me, Bob. This is our world. Just come on now. You
don't even need to say that.
You already figured out that he's a ghost. You already figured out that he's a poltergeist.
Right.
Don't egg him on. Because you know that poltergeists can move things. And things can hurt you. You know this.
Yeah, but at the same time, it gives him that feeling of, oh, I really can't hurt him. What can I do? But then he starts getting pissed off. It's like, yep, I've pissed him off right now.
It did kind of address something that I had been thinking about in the beginning, was how do you tell the difference between real life and these ghosts that show up? And
so you can.
I guess since he wasn't able to tell the difference between the poltergeist and the real Fungus Bob, I mean, I guess it is kind of hard to to know when you're looking at a ghost and when you're not.
And that was another example of him saying what we've seen. Like, it's him. Oh, anybody who doesn't realize that they can't touch us or manipulate us, I'm just going to say it out loud. It's a pet peeve of mine when it comes to movies. It's like, I know, I could give me some credit.
Yeah. It was almost what's that one show that I don't like?
One show you don't like?
Burnless.
Burn Notice.
Yeah, Burn Notice.
Yeah. The overuse of narration.
Right.
Yeah.
That's one of my guilty pleasures. I like Burn Notice.
I'm going to pick this lock now, and I'm going to tell you exactly why I'm picking this lock.
Well, he would tell you how he was doing it. I watched Burn Notice. That's how she knows about it.
Yeah.
So we have to vote. What about his girlfriend, Stormy?
If anything, she was weirder than he was.
Yeah, she
I
liked
her
it all.
better, though.
Yeah, a lot of her lines seem to be very...
Creepy?
I wouldn't say creepy, just unnatural.
Weird.
Yeah, I thought it was a little weird that they
The delivery.
weren't more discreet about his powers. Like, she's just on her phone at work, on her Bluetooth, serving people ice cream, going, yeah, check the refrigerator for severed heads. Like this is like the most natural thing in the world, and nobody's listening
And there
to
was
a conversation.
eventually she did find a severed head in there.
Yeah, like an hour later, he finally, in movie time, in the movie, an hour later in the movie.
Yeah.
Well,
Finally checked the refrigerator.
if you think about it, though, they've been together since they were kids.
Well, no, I
So-
know. I mean, the conversation between the two of them wasn't odd. Like, the fact that she was, like...
Wasn't?
No. Well, I mean, given, like Yano said, I mean, they've been together for so long, and she knows about his power or whatever, but I'm just saying she's not more discreet about it at work. Like,
I almost
shouldn't
feel-
she go to a closet somewhere and, like, have this conversation so nobody overhears the conversation about him seeing ghosts?
I almost felt like she was jealous of his power. Like, she wanted that power almost to, well, at the very least to join him, but almost like, I don't know. Like, at least that's how I felt in the movie. It's like, I want this. Why can't I have this? And that's why she's constantly helping, constantly wanting to help.
She seems overprotective.
Yeah,
But yet at the
At
same
points.
time, like, go for it. I want to know about it. Tell me.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I think
it's
a
weird.
lot of it was she knows he can do something that helps people, but at the same time, if something were to happen to him, she can't see him. She even
Right.
said, you can see dead people, I can't.
Right. Come back alive, because I won't be able to see you.
Right.
Yeah, foreshadowing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also,
Hint, hint.
also, did you know they're in love?
No. I
Did
couldn't-
you?
I couldn't tell from the 36 cheesy ass lines that they threw out.
And that must have said, I loved you like 20 times. A scene like, we love you. I love you. I love you. Okay. She's either gonna die the most horrible death.
Yeah. Yeah, I
The
definitely was
gypsy
like,
even said, we are
somebody is
destined to be
dying.
together forever.
Yeah.
But the gypsy said so.
I love their whole romance is based off the vending machine from Big. And like, oh god. And when actually talking about the severed head in the fridge, we never find out anything about what's in that fridge. There's fingers, there's a skull in that fridge. What is that from? Where did it come from? Like,
Yeah.
Those are big loopholes. We never find out who they came from. Who were those people that got dismembered?
yeah, I thought they were gonna frame someone with the fingers, like fingerprint, and then like frame someone at a crime scene at some point.
But don't forget, I mean, we're seeing this movie without reading any of the
The
said
books.
7 books?
Yeah.
They
I mean,
kind
could
of,
have been addressed in a later book.
they kind of wrapped it up towards the end where they tell you that the guys that did it, they just enjoyed killing people.
Yeah.
So, okay, just random nameless.
They are literally the pod people.
Tying up that loophole.
Random nameless victims, but
Right.
okay, but were they people from this town or some other town? Do they keep trophies?
Yeah, is
How
this the
old
first
are
time
these
that they do it?
heads?
Or have they been killing for a while?
Is that skull from a week ago or 3 years ago? What the hell, man?
But then, like I was saying, this is a book that we didn't read. Might also answer the questions you had earlier.
Yeah,
about
but
the girl and how she can predict things in her dream. That the Viola.
But in the
Victoria
context
or
of this
whatever.
movie, we have
sure,
no
but,
idea.
I mean, still, I mean, it's probably addressed in the book if we'd have read it.
Yeah, but still, they narrated over so much. Why not narrate over that? Well, we already talked somewhat about the bad guys. Fungus Bob, who is like the red herring red herring, but not red herring of this story. He's part of the bad guy group, which turns out to be 2 police officers and 1 random school teacher.
Yep.
Yeah, professor or something. Yeah.
And they're all pod people. But what was
Pod. Prince of Darkness.
Yes, the Prince of Darkness cult. And they, let me see. No, let me say. Did you see it coming with the amount of people that were there? I saw 2 of them coming. One when Willem Dafoe gets shot in the doorway, because you can clearly see the guy's blonde hair of the one cop.
I thought the one cop, just because he was just creepy. But
which one? The good-looking one, which was supposed to be the brown hair.
The one with the obvious tattoo that the girlfriend was asking about the tattoo.
Yeah.
Like I thought for sure about him. I'm like, yeah, there's something wrong with him, but I didn't see.
It was like a poor man's Zac Efron.
I didn't see
a taller Zac Efron.
I didn't see the other ones coming.
I was kind of expecting him to be involved in some way, but I didn't really make the connection. Like, I was suspicious, but I didn't really make the connection until they found all those severed heads, because he had searched the place and said they found nothing.
Yeah, and also with it, like, he was the only one that objected to Thomas in any way. Everybody loved him except for him.
Yeah. Well, he was also, the blonde one was new.
Yeah, the blonde one, there was no hint of him being in, except for Willem Dafoe, and you literally see the back of his head with the blonde. I was like, oh, he's in on it.
Yeah.
I thought it was like, oh, that's just a frame up or something. No, it was him. I was like, oh. And their whole plan is to shoot up a mall.
Yep.
Yeah, I was
and then be heroes.
A little underwhelmed when I found out their plan. I was like,
oh, shoot them all.
Big aspirations there.
Yeah, not to put aside any mass shootings, but you're like, just a mall? In movie terms, you're like, oh, that's nothing.
Yeah.
Right.
And with all the supernatural stuff going on, I kind of was like expecting maybe something a little bit more supernatural.
Open the gates of hell or something.
Yeah, and like I thought that whole gates of hell thing was going to be foreshadowing.
I mean,
to all
I
that.
didn't see not one giant pentagram drawn anywhere.
No.
They really didn't show, like, they really didn't play up the whole demon cult thing, did they?
No. The only reason I was expecting it was because when they were going through, when I keep saying they, but when
Odd
Thomas was going through the computer, he happened on like Church of Satan websites and satanic cult websites and
how to build a pipe bomb website,
stuff like that. Websites.
It's one hell of a pipe bomb. It was like a truck.
I know. It went from pipe bomb to like massive moving van bomb.
See, even with that, even their plan doesn't make sense. It's like they wanted to go through and shoot everything, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So they were going to be inside, right?
Yeah.
So the bomb in the basement was going to blow up in 3 minutes. They locked themselves in. How were they going to get out before the bomb blew up?
Yeah.
Maybe it was a suicide kind of thing.
No, they were... No.
They wanted to play the heroes.
Right.
Oh, right. That's right.
Cop uniforms on underneath.
And he makes it, they're going to play heroes. And also, even with that, if they didn't want to do the mass shooting part, I'm pretty sure they would have been okay. They would have succeeded.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But then again, we don't know how much of Odd's involvement made him decide, okay, do you know what? We're not going to be able to play the hero part too much, or I need to set this for 3 minutes rather than
Backup
7 minutes
plan.
or something like that.
And did anybody ever heard of, like, fire locks locking people inside of someplace? Like,
nope.
Somehow he hacked the system, made it so locked them all down in like 5 minutes, and no one thought of just pulling a fire alarm and automatically opening all the doors.
It is a security feature that comes in handy in a zombie apocalypse situation.
They banked on panic. People don't know what the hell to do.
I think that just that whole shootout scene was, spoiler alert, to kill Stormy, his girlfriend, his love of his life. That was the only reason there was shooting in the mall. If you didn't have that, you wouldn't have that. And I think she was the only victim from what I saw.
No.
I mean, maybe the only one they brought attention to.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Because in it, he like the first guy that's shooting in that courtyard. He's just shooting in the air. It's like, what the hell? He's like, I will start mass shooting. Die, Windows.
Well, I don't know. Did they mention anything about the bowling alley workers? Did any of them actually die?
No.
They didn't actually. I don't think they mentioned any deaths at all.
Except for her.
Were there just
Right.
a bunch of injuries? Did they say or?
They didn't address it at all.
Yeah, they didn't even start shooting. All you heard was he has a gun, and that started it all. It's not like you heard shots. You just heard someone shout,
And I don't
he's got a
really
gun,
think
and
you
everybody
saw-
started
I don't
running.
even think you saw bodies when he was running towards them.
No.
It was very odd that they did that. I was just like, okay. Like, if you didn't say anything and just blew it up, you would have been fine. Now, let's talk about the other villains, kind of. The Babadooks, no. The Bogarts. Or the
Bodaks.
The Bodak.
Yeah.
I like
Free Bogarts.
See, Bogarts just rolls off the tongue. Bodaks, not so much, unless you're a
know.
Dragon Ball fan.
So the Bodaks, what are they exactly? I thought they were kind of like demons that can possess humans.
Creepy demons, yeah, sure.
Yeah, I thought they were kind of just demonish.
They kind of look like aliens.
Yeah. They kind of look like
They kind of
those
look like
things
the
in
budget.
Harry Potter.
They kind of look like
where-
Alien when they go like
That weird like
Predator illusion.
No, they look like those horses in Harry Potter you could only see when you have seen somebody die. You know?
Oh yeah, they're invisible.
Yeah, they're kind of
to
invisible
some
except
people.
to some people. Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, that's
Never
what I'm
mind.
thinking.
Yeah, I
I
haven't
know what
seen.
they're called,
I haven't
I
seen
just-
them
Yeah,
in
I
a
forget
while.
what they're called, but
Yeah, because only Harry
only some-
and
Lovegood.
Luna
Lovegood could see them. Yeah. Sorry.
All right, I like that, a little bit of acapella. But yeah, that's where most of the budget went, was to the CGI of these.
Oh, you're not.
They were
Yeah.
kinda
You're
cool.
not
The CG
mad. I see them too.
The CGI and the explosion at the end.
Yeah, there was a lot of CGI where they didn't need it. Like when Fungus Bob's place blows up, they CGI'd all that. Those explosions. And when he's...
Why, that totally could have been practical.
The most egregious thing was when he was flipping pancakes. All the pancakes,
Oh, yeah.
all the food, that all was CGI. Why did you need to CGI his cooking skills?
Did they really need to CGI all the little tiles flipping when the Bodaks were coming in too?
Nah, I think that was...
I could see that,
Yeah.
but the food? Like flipping pancakes? You really need... No, it has to be amazing. Because this guy's not amazing enough. He's odd because of the way he flips pancakes. And like CGI the... what was it? He had like a
Eggs.
cucumber and it was just flying.
He
I
was
was like,
cutting
what
that
the...
cucumber forever. He wasn't even looking. He was just cutting it, and he was just watching the Bodak or whatever they call him. And
I'd be like, okay, Bodak. Ah! There goes my finger now.
Oh,
yeah, I know. I was expecting a finger.
This salad's got some special red sauce.
What do these Bogarts... What do they need with the violence? I couldn't figure that out. What did they actually like? They fed it.
I
Like,
feel
feed on
like
it? They
he
feed on
kind of
negative energy?
addressed it with the kids that they were like feeding on them like before they died. Like they were feeding on them before they died.
It's like psychic vampires. They fed on negative energy. They just wanted to be around you. They're like, oh, yeah, I like this negative energy. I'm just going to hang out near you until you die.
but
Feels
do
good.
they like siphon something off, or is it just okay?
It's like a
it didn't
train
show
wreck.
any.
It's like a train wreck.
It's like moths to a flame. It's just like, oh, yeah, this is so nice to be around. Yeah, your suffering feels awesome.
But moths are confusing it for something they need. Like with these guys, there was no ill effects when they were around at all, except when they possessed somebody, and they established that if you can see them, they will kill you, as soon as possible.
Right.
They pick up that Odd basically from the beginning of this movie. That Odd can see them, and they just leave him alone.
I don't think they knew at the beginning of the movie.
Well, they did to set it up, or else the police officers that were planning
I
with
don't think they
Fungus
did.
Bob.
I don't think they did until they noticed him in the house, or like right before they were in the house. That's when when he was following the Fungus Bob around town. I think that's when they figured out. Because remember, there was a part in the movie where they stopped following him randomly, and he was like, "Oh wow, that's really weird that they stopped following him. That they, stopped doing that." And then they started looking for him in the house.
We knew why they stopped looking for Bob, because he was dead. So at the church, they weren't following him then because he was dead at the time.
No, there was a part where they actually physically stopped following him, looked around.
Oh, and looked at
the guy, the one, kind of made a motion to all the others, and then they dove into the floors and completely stopped following that Fungus Bob guy.
Part.
Completely stopped following him. Didn't follow him out.
No, they followed him.
Want to
No,
be
they
there.
followed him.
No, they didn't.
In the diner when he leaves?
No, I'm not talking about that part. I'm talking about after he follows him around the town.
Yes.
There's a part where they stop following him. And he made a comment about it. He even drew attention to it, Odd Thomas. He said, "I've never seen them just stop following somebody before."
Yeah, no, you're right.
And then he went to the house right after that. The scene next to it was when he went to the house, and then they showed up and started looking around the house. They were looking for him.
They were looking for...
Fungus Bob was Odd Thomas.
But Fungus Bob was dead at that point.
No, he wasn't.
No, he was...
No, remember he...
No, he was dead.
He was dead.
No, he couldn't have been because he drove away 2 seconds before he walked
No,
into the house.
that was the teacher.
No, he drove away from the house. Remember he said the last time I saw him was when he drove away from his house. He drove away and then he entered the house to look around.
I remember him getting there.
The teacher got there.
No, when Thomas got there. I don't remember... Anybody else recall it?
I'm confused. I'm trying to remember. I'm having a hard time trying to picture what you're describing.
When Thomas got to the house,
yeah,
Bob drove away, and then Thomas went into the house, and then whatever his name is, Odd, went into the house and started looking around and stuff.
Yeah,
and that's when those Bodek things showed up.
Yeah,
right.
But even then,
the teacher showed up afterwards.
Yeah, because he was looking for Fungus Bob, so if he was looking for him, then he wasn't dead. But at that point, even then, if we started from then, why didn't they try and kill Odd Thomas then?
Because they weren't sure. They weren't sure if he knew.
But if you think about when they first started mentioning of the Bodeks and the guy gave him the finger or something like that.
And that was enough for them to kill. What happens if he was just giving the finger to the thing behind him? Or something along those lines? And what's the negative portion of them just killing Thomas? There is nothing negative. They show that they don't get penalized if they kill somebody. So, honestly, why don't they just possess people and start killing? That wasn't established. You saw him possess the one evil guy and then him start shooting Thomas in the big finale. Because that's the reason why he turns around and goes after Thomas. So
maybe
why didn't they just...
Maybe they can only do it if somebody around them can see them.
No, I would think it would be along the lines of they enjoy it when other people do the work for them.
Could be. Maybe they get more of whatever they're feeding off of, more of that negative energy.
Mm-hmm. It seems like they...
It just doesn't make any sense.
And
why they leave Thomas alive?
I don't know.
Well, they probably also decided that he may not put all things together, and what would be even better is knowing that someone who can see them still wasn't able to do anything. That would be his failure and probably be more of a quote-unquote high.
We know nothing about these things.
Could also be they wanted to draw him to the mall and have him as part of the body count.
But why? There's no reason for them to leave him alive.
They weren't leaving him alive.
Well, they weren't attempting to
I don't think the intention was to leave him alive. I think they wanted to kill him with all the other people in the mass killing.
But they showed that with the other guy that they'd kill you immediately. He hops in the one guy and hits him with a truck.
Exactly. So why didn't they just kill him immediately? What makes him so special that
they leave him alone?
Well, no, we've got plans for him.
Oh, plot armor.
Yeah.
Again, I don't think they knew right away.
But even with that, these things, they show no risk if they just kill indiscriminately.
Right.
There's no risk. It's not like they get sucked and evaporated if they break the rules that we don't really know of.
Yeah.
So we just have to take it that they're scheming evil maniacal monsters that like to wait instead of things that are just animals like they're shown to be.
Yeah, like a
there
chess
does
game or
seem to
long
be
con.
some sort of hierarchy structure to them. There does seem to be a boss Bodak, because there was one at the mall.
Yeah, definitely.
Probably if this has a sequel or if it was part of a series, they'd probably disclose what in more detail. But in the movie, they didn't really give any reason why they didn't do it.
We're just
Again,
left
probably in
wondering
the book.
why.
What about how did everyone like the slow-mo? Especially at the beginning.
What?
The slow-mo in the fight, jumping over cars, that whole chase, even later in the...
That was a bit overdone.
I'm not a fan of slow motion, ever,
I didn't
really.
even notice it.
They did give up halfway like through the movie. They stopped doing slow-mo. I don't even think they did any at the finale.
No, they didn't.
We wasted it all at the beginning, so we're done.
I really just don't like slow motion, ever.
No one does. And I thought he was going to get his ass kicked in that first fight, too. With all the slow-mo, I was like, all right, how is he going to beat this one guy who's like a foot taller than him?
I feel like he should have gotten his ass kicked. Odd Thomas, come on. You have to be bad at something.
Yeah, he was great at everything he did, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Like cooking, cleaning, fighting, shooting he was pretty awful at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he wasn't good at paying off for his own car. He kept having to borrow other people's vehicles.
Yeah, he didn't want to do that, though. He was like, I don't want any bills.
Yeah. He wants to lead a...
But everybody was willing to give him a car or something.
Bills.
Yeah.
He didn't want to be tied down to anything. He didn't
Right.
want to own property. He didn't want to own
Oh.
anything, really. He didn't want...
To be tied down with
tied
like
anywhere.
a girl that he's been with for 20 years that
No,
have
he
tied him down
wanted-
to a town.
He wanted simplicity.
He wanted simple.
Right.
Though why owning a car complicates your life, I don't know, because cars are
He was
movable.
he was minimalistic.
Yes. So minimalistic that he had to have a cutout of Elvis in his room. Why did he have a cutout of Elvis in his room? I thought it was going to be some like character quirk that it's just like, and he's going to be like, yeah, I love Elvis or something like that. Never comes up again. He's just,
No.
and he even pays specific attention to that detail. Elvis.
Oh, minimalistic. Doesn't want to own a house.
That's a great apartment
But
for a
he
cook's
has
salary.
a diner that he needs to either own the building or pay a lease on.
Does he own it?
I don't think so.
I thought he was just a cook.
I got
Or
the
does
impression
he
it was
just
that
work
His-
girl.
there?
No,
Whose is that?
You're thinking maybe the ice cream stand was her grandmother's.
No, the place that he works, the diner, is that his diner, or does he just work there?
He just
He
works
just
there.
works
He
there.
just works
Okay.
there, I think.
Well, he should own it the way he's amazing at everything.
I got the impression that he owns that.
Well, he would be. He would have to do something to own that apartment. He had a really nice apartment. Fully furnished. I mean, it looked great on a cook's salary.
But he's also in the middle of nowhere, it seems. So, who knows?
He's New Mexico
Decent.
or California. Somewhere out there.
Well, he did disgrace a church somehow. No, when he's at the church with Stormy, his girlfriend, and they're having a picnic up on the top, I thought that was actually going to play a significant role, like the church. Like, no demon or ghost could go into the church
Oh,
for
yeah.
some reason.
Yeah.
You know, I was
Yeah.
kind of expecting something like that too.
So was
like,
I.
Be a safe kind of thing.
You
You
think
know?
it would
That
be?
yeah, you would think.
Yeah, so they just... So what we're supposed to believe is that they randomly go to church to have picnics in the bell tower.
Yeah, apparently.
It seemed that way. They had a table up there.
I mean, I would love it. I would love to do that, but...
It's like, excuse me, Father, can I just go up by the bell and just have a picnic with my wife? Thank
Yeah,
you.
There was no one at that place, was there?
No.
There was not a
No.
single soul. They just had free run of this church for
Yeah,
some reason.
Yeah. Doors were left unlocked, you know, never.
Yeah, he has free roam of a church. He has free roam of a prison execution
Let
center.
him do
There's also once a
whatever
strip
the
joint
hell
and a
he
burger
wants.
place.
Was it?
Yep.
Yes, he
I did not
say
catch that.
Yeah, he did say that. He said it had been a lot of other things. It's strip joint and a burger place.
All the signs were outside
Yeah.
still.
Yeah.
There's like 3 or 4 signs.
Why
out
didn't
front.
anybody remove the barbed wire fence from it? No wonder it was failed. There's a barbed wire fence around a burger joint.
Yeah.
I thought it was like a college party place because when he goes through, you see all the cells decorated. I thought like teenagers or college kids threw a party in it, and that was the leftovers. I did not pick up that it was owned by people. Oh, Jesus. But the gas chamber's still working, apparently.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like it's still working. And that's when he gets the realization... What was the realization with that?
With what?
Oh, no. When, the part I liked with Fungus Bob, when he gets framed in one of the worst frame jobs I have ever seen. Because it's like, he was supposed to have killed Fungus... The frame job was for him to kill Fungus Bob because they find a gun and him dead in the bathtub.
Right, yeah.
But there's no blood anywhere.
Right. Yeah.
He's been dead for several days.
Right.
Several
Rigor mortis
hours.
has already set in.
Yeah.
So
And
once
nobody called anybody like about it. You know what I mean? Like you'd think that the cops would want to draw attention to the fact that Fungus Bob is at Odd Thomas's house.
I thought they were gonna.
Thought they would have had an anonymous tip or something.
Yeah, like they would call him
show
to get
up.
him framed, but he's like, I won't call the police, and everything goes fine. Though it did lead to some of the funny parts of the movie when he's disposing of the body and just dropping it on its head.
Yeah.
I definitely laughed at that. I enjoyed that part.
Me, Rosalita, or something like that, whatever her name is. I'm gonna borrow your car. Hot wires it.
But
Knows how to hotwire a car.
I think.
Yeah, he does it several times. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I was like, is there keys in the car? No, he's hotwiring it. So does this old woman hotwire her own car all the time?
Yeah, this
Hey,
old
if you
woman,
lost the keys,
That's
lost
true.
the
woman
keys,
is
that's going to be the
perfectly
only way.
fine with this kid just ripping apart her car to hotwire it. Sure.
And all of it just doesn't make sense how they framed him like that. Why? What was the point of that if you weren't going to act on it? You're just like, I will put the body in there. The cop, what I would think is that cop, they showed that he was in the van waiting for him to call the cops.
Why did think that cop would be ready to then pull up at his door with backup, another cop not associated with him, to corroborate the story, to walk in to find Odd standing over Fungus Bob with a gun?
Yeah, or why doesn't he have just the teacher call the police, be like, I heard a commotion and a gunshot from Odd's apartment, so they have a reason to go in and he can just shoot him then and there.
Yeah.
But they don't do that. They're like, he watches him take the body out. And then even with that, you still have the whole of the neighbors downstairs who never heard a gunshot from a Magnum.
Yeah.
That was a very large gun.
And if she can hear a body falling on the trunk of her car.
and farting, she can pick up that. But this 357 Magnum, what was that? Oh, damn these pipes.
Just watching the TV. It's okay.
Were the bad guys all related? Like, because they said the two cops, they were like, since they were kids. That was what we heard at the end. That they were worshippers since they were kids, but...
Could have been, like, neighborhood friends. Could have been...
Does that mean Fungus...
Classmates.
Fungus Bob was also friends with them since he shared the tattoos?
Who knows? They could have just...
Same with the
that
teacher.
They all got the tattoos together later as a, look, you're getting this tattoo type of deal.
One on the arm and one, like, right in the chest.
Or, like, whenever they join, they get the tattoo.
Initiation type deal. Like, this is your final thing. Like, when you join a biker gang or something.
Right.
You're allowed to have this tattoo now. You're one of us.
Could have started with 2 and then expanded.
Yeah, it could have made it a better design than Pod.
Yeah, really.
Yeah. Honestly, I was like, Pod, there's going to be more, and that's the reveal. Like, there's going to be something. It was like, Pod, Caster, scum of the earth.
Pod racing.
Pod people.
Now, this is pod racing.
2 peas in a pod.
No, the pod
Turns out
people?
to be more. What?
Yeah, and they turned out to be pod people.
Well, they weren't very aspiring.
They weren't smart.
They didn't aspire to much.
No.
I mean...
Very, very low-key.
They're,
well,
the satanic cult and, could have,
it was a very lazy
conjured
cult.
Satan or something, but no, they're shooting up a mall.
So there's one scene I wanted to go back to. He keeps seeing a recurring vision of someone getting shot in the chest. And so he talks to Patton Oswalt, which is another surprise in this movie, who's just like a weird jeweler that makes him a necklace of a heart that he gives to Willem Dafoe. But because Willem Dafoe then gets gunned down by one of the 2 traitor satanic cops. Or cultist cops, I apologize. But was that was that actually the vision, that it was Willem Dafoe that got shot? Or
No.
was his girlfriend, or was it Fungus Bob?
It was
Fungus
Fungus Bob.
I don't think he really knows
No, he didn't.
at first
He didn't
exactly who. He just knows someone is going to get shot. He needs to have this thing made. And
Right.
he just has a feeling who he's supposed to give it to later on. He says, I think you should wear this here.
Right. He
Don't-
like misinterprets
Try not to laugh. I think you should wear this.
And
Well-
Willem Dafoe is devoted, because even when he's trying to get it on with his wife, he has to have that bling on the entire time.
But they do say it later, and they show the whole vision as it's happening later on, and it is Fungus Bob. And I think he even makes a comment, "Oh, it wasn't about the cop, or it wasn't
Yeah.
about the police chief." Something like
they
that.
were saying, he was saying like some assembly required to show the POD tattoo right across the chest, and that's when he started putting together the dots.
So he's just got really lucky with William Dafoe.
Yes.
Willem Dafoe.
Yeah.
Why did they want to kill him anyway?
Because I guess he was favoring Odd Thomas, and Odd Thomas was the one that like tipped him off about
Yeah.
stuff. And
Yeah.
if the chief was out of the way, they could probably frame Odd Thomas better.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because
Or
if you
go
think about
after
it, in the
him better.
beginning, it seems that the chief knows that nobody would take him seriously unless there's some kind of cooperation. So he said, when he took down that guy in the beginning of the movie,
he gave him a story to tell.
yeah. Whereas if it was any other cop, the cop would be like, "You what?"
He's like, you're... any other cop would be like, you are completely full of shit. You saw what?
Yeah.
And really, why is it that every time something goes down in this town,
It's you.
you are involved heavily? You're going to jail this time.
Yeah. Which is why I thought the police chief was his father,
Yeah.
because he knew about his gift or whatever. I
And
feel
believes him.
Yeah, and believes him.
And took him seriously.
Yeah, and like, how did the police chief find out about this gift?
Yeah, it almost feels like this
that
movie...
wasn't explained.
Yeah, the movie almost feels like it's number 2. Like, it's a sequel to a
Yes.
movie that was
Yeah.
never made.
Are we really
Yes.
sure the police chief isn't his dad?
Yeah.
I'm positive, because in one scene, the police chief, it was either him or it was either him. It was either maybe it was the wife. I don't remember who it was, but like they asked. It was one of them asked how his father was doing.
Yeah.
I mean, if the police chief was his father, then the girlfriend or wife or whatever would have no reason to ask that.
What in the world was I
Question.
doing that I missed that part? Because I was watching this
It was
movie
very
the whole
quick.
time.
Yeah,
It was like one
Yeah,
sentence.
it was really quick. It was very subtle.
And he says son like 7 times.
I know.
So if you
Right.
miss that one sentence, you're done.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like even with like all of it, it makes sense that this feels like a second movie. Like Oz, which is Patton Oswalt, feels
Ozzy.
like there was a relationship there.
Right.
Yeah.
And like I thought he was gonna have a bigger part in this movie, but no, it was just really quick, one scene, bye bye.
Yeah.
Same with the Mummy. I think they must be friends with the director.
Probably. It makes sense.
It's like,
Stephen
hey, you're
Summers.
between movies. You want to do something fun?
You want to sit?
You want to pick your nose at the prop? You want to just be like, you told me to make a piece of metal for over the heart. Oh, I made you a heart metal.
Yeah. You can't get me out of the zone.
Heart shaped, 6 inches in diameter, steel. No. 6 inches in diameter to go over the heart.
Yeah, so if you think about it, when Willem Dafoe's wearing the chain, it's not on his heart. It would be like in the mid. Well, then
Yeah.
again, that's where your heart is. My bad.
Yeah.
Well, kind of.
All right, score
kinda,
movie.
Slightly.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Depends what movie you are watching.
True. All right, so the major thing that everything builds up to this movie, especially with his girlfriends Stormy and Oz, that like now that I think back on it, why they kept saying I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you. Did I mention I love you? You could have just shown us that, but that's another thing where this movie just like tells you. It's like, why don't you just show them being close or something instead of just I love you every 5 minutes? Well, in the end, it all accumulates into the mall shooting. There's a bomb in the basement. There's he gets shot a bunch. Now, how do I want to put this? Now, with the school shooting, the mall shooting. Whoa.
You would think M. Night Shyamalan wrote the ending of this.
Yeah, because she stands up from behind her work counter after the guy, one of these shooters is shown just shooting randomly. It comes out to be that she is actually dead for the rest of the movie after that point, which I didn't pick up on until the actual end.
Same here.
Which I thought was well done. Like, that she didn't talk from then on.
I didn't notice that either.
Did he know?
I think there are hints where he's saying at the end that he knew, but he didn't want to admit it. Because when he first saw her, the bloodstains was where the ice cream was.
I didn't pick up on that either.
Yeah, they were
clever girl.
There are
almost as if he was changing the memory in his mind, or like hoping that it was one thing instead of another. But
there are a few scenes leading up to the actual reveal that hints at it.
Yeah, she never speaks.
She never speaks. But then they made it so that nobody really spoke.
Yeah,
it was just voiceover.
Yeah, it was like really.
So there's 2 glasses. One is filled with wine. The other isn't. And at the final reveal, he has a bowl full of cereal and orange juice. Her glass and bowl is empty.
That's so... But at other scenes, you see her holding like a tub of ice cream with...
But who's eating the ice cream? She's feeding it to him. She's not eating it herself.
That's true.
Motherfucker.
That's true.
So, but how is she... like, this is a thing I talked about with Jenny beforehand. Like he's holding her and all that stuff, but I guess... I have to go back and watch it. Like, I didn't see if, like, she's holding on to him, but his hands aren't on her. Like,
But there's nothing saying that ghosts can't hold on to things.
Yes, because this is the thing with Fungus Bob. They showed and told us that he can't interact with people at all.
They said, you can't harm
physically
me. You can't cause me harm.
Physically touch.
But they were able to control and move and manipulate objects.
But if she's holding on to him, she should just kind of like fade through. Because you can't touch.
True.
Well, then that's an inconsistency on their part.
But if you say like it's just imaginary, like him just coping with the imaginary.
Could be either that, or my interpretation was that they are soulmates and that maybe the rules are a little bit different in that case.
I mean,
there you go. That's
could be, but
I mean, I suppose either or. Like maybe
the
it's
almighty gypsies watching over them.
Yeah, the guy from Big is like, I will defy reality.
I mean, I feel like I'm leaning towards that interpretation just because they made such a big deal out of this. You will be together forever thing with the gypsy, you know.
I think it was just so it hurt more at the end almost.
Yeah.
But when I first saw it, I'm like, she's dead. And then she came up and she had the ice cream all over her. I'm like, okay. But then they're doing the voiceover. I'm like, she hasn't said anything.
But no one has.
But no one else has. But I'm like, there has to be something. And then there was like nothing. And they're like, okay, ready to go. And he's like, oh yeah, Stormy and I. And then looks back. I'm like, there's the gut punch.
Yeah.
I was kind of the same way. Leading up to that scene, I was like, she's going to die. She's definitely going to die. The whole movie, I was like, this chick's going to die. But then she stood up and was still alive. And I was like, oh. Okay, all right, happy ending. I'm all right with that.
I was expecting it to be the other way around. I was expecting him to die.
Yeah, because you see him just completely exhausted out of...
Yeah, he does get shot a couple of times. Yeah. Like once or twice.
You have a giant freaking explosion that occurred only a few...
Yeah, just
10 feet away from
it just stayed in that nice pipeline.
Yeah.
Didn't go up any. And if you look around, there's CG cars around it, and they're doing some crazy shit. Yeah. If you ever watch it again, just look at the cars next to the explosion. They're like doing donuts and flipping around. I was like, that's so odd. But at the end, they have another thing. After, first you have like the Michael Bay kind of Armageddon walk when they're all getting out of the limo and the crowd of people and it's slow motion.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, they're getting launched to space now. That's the sequel. I love it. But also, Willem Dafoe does the thing that plagued this movie that kind of irked me, where he just like tells us the obvious. You have to let her go, Odd. We know. We know. Just, you don't have to like bring it up and tell us. Like, it would be more emotional if it was quiet and just let her walk. Like, he comes to the realization instead.
Well, he was even saying, is she here and everything else. So
like, it didn't need that. We know she's here. Willem Dafoe. Is she here? Is she here? You have to let her go, man. It's just like, you can just, like, show us that, like, heart-filled, you can see it on his face. You don't need to tell us that he needs to let her go. We know that. I mean, it sucks, but
right.
I was like, oh, that's quite sad ending.
I think that was their way of trying to show that he's been up in that room for extended amount of time, like for days, and they're trying to show that they're frustrated and they're worried for him. So yeah, he's worried. It's like, look, you can't continue on like this. You have to move on.
Yeah,
and giant then the wife chips in. They've released her body. You have to do something.
There's a giant tub of ice cream. You can't buy another one just for yourself.
It melted everywhere. That's probably terrible.
But yeah, that ending was really sad. It made me cry.
Yeah, I felt manly tears.
I was doing my best
to
hold it in, and it was not working. I'm like, I'm not gonna.
All those loves really weighed on you, didn't they?
All the what?
All the loves and TLC.
Oh my god!
It was just
made me cry.
Seeing him with the tears running down his face.
Yes,
and that just
seeing another person cry in a movie will make me cry.
I just would have liked it. It's just a little more subtle, and you didn't have to have Willem Dafoe say that. Like, just talk to him and just be like, Yeah. Like if it was her, like Stormy's. What happened to Stormy's parents?
They never were mentioned.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe Stormy's an orphan. Maybe she ran away from
no, because I think her grandmother owned that ice cream place.
Maybe Grandma's dead. Maybe
and
her parents are dead. Maybe her parents live in another state.
And they're now possessing that fortune-telling machine.
Yeah.
That's her father right there.
I approve, son. But I'm 5. I approve.
You're 5. You don't want to know what I do to young kids. I will make you age.
Oh, God.
So that's all fun. So is there anything else anybody's got? Anything anybody wants to go over? We hit most of the stuff. We're pretty good.
I think that was it.
Yeah.
All right. And as always, I like to bring up a couple things. Now, let's see the normal. For you, personally, what's the small thing you would change in this to make it better for you? And I don't mean like change a complete actor around or director or film style. Just something small that would make it better for you personally. How about you, Noosh?
I would like to know the hierarchy of the Bodaks.
Like a little more background into those guys?
Yeah. That seemed to be... I mean, for it to be... I wouldn't say the... Well, I guess you could call them almost the main villain in a sense.
Yeah, they do make them a major part of this, but they don't do much in the end, do they?
No.
They try to stop him when he does try to shoot one of the gunmen.
Yeah.
Which shows that they can actually interact without possessing someone, which makes even more...
they possessed him.
Oh, they were trying to possess him? Odd Thomas, where he's like, where they're smacking the gun around.
Oh, no, they were just trying to slow him down.
Which means they can interact. That even breaks their story up of why they didn't kill him even more if they can slap him around.
I feel like maybe the rules are different with him because he can see them. Maybe that makes him different, like on a different plane or something.
Or fair game.
Like, yeah, or like even slightly into their phasing instead of, you know what I mean?
What would fix it is what you would want, more background into the Bogarts.
Into the Bogarts.
Yeah.
Yeah, senior.
I feel like more background in general.
I don't think that was Bogart. I don't know who that is.
I feel like more background in general would help a lot of scenes.
Yeah, it feels like this movie is the second movie, not the first.
It does make me want to read the book, so to maybe better understand and maybe enjoy the movie a little bit more, saying, oh, that's why that is. But I have a feeling with some of the skipping around that they did in the movie, it would make a little bit more sense, but not much.
I don't know. You've read Kuntz's work before, Jenny. Does he go into a lot of detail? Is he like... or is he kind of just like broad?
Depends on the book, I guess.
Well, what's the book you read?
He is very like subtle, and that doesn't come right out and say things. That,
but he gives you enough.
You have to
unlike
figure
this
it
movie.
out, or he'll wait and give you hints, kind of like the ending. There was an ending of another book that was kind of similar, where there were hints, very subtle hints, and then right at the end, dropped the bomb on you, and you were like, crap. Why didn't I see that coming?
So the ending of this film is kind of a theme.
That definitely is very Kuntz. Now, when you said about Dean Kuntz, and when we were talking about the ending, that's where I saw him. Yeah. The exposition, all that extra exposition, they must have just... The screenwriters must have just added that in.
Well, just because they had a full novel to put into a book.
To put into
a 90-minute movie. So what would you change in this? Something to make it better for you.
I feel like I'm going to steal yours.
What's that?
The exhibition.
Exhibition?
Exposition. My bad. Exposition. I feel like for me was overly done. You know how I am about exposition and narration. With Burn Notice. Kind of same deal here. It was sometimes it was okay. If you want to start the movie with a little couple of sentences, explaining the past. But this was telling you exactly what was happening and not just letting the character do it for himself.
We weren't discovering it with him. He was telling us everything.
And I feel like the parts where I was discovering it with him were much more enjoyable than the parts where he was just narrating the action and just describing everything. Because there were a couple of parts where I was where we as the audience were discovering it with him. And those were enjoyable parts, but the exhibition I think was way overdone. Did I say exhibition again? Yeah. Exposition.
Yes, and exposition. We're going to the North Pole.
I'm just going to keep saying narration because apparently I can't say exposition.
I can't say half of anything without messing it up. All right, Britt, what little thing would you change to make it?
I guess the little thing that I would change would be the overly sappiness of affection between Odd and Stormy. There's just too many of the the ooey gooey love moments. It's to the point where it's sometimes distracting from the main story. It's just we get it. You're in love. We know you're in love. We know that you're soulmates and you're destined to be together forever. You've told us this multiple times. Get on with it.
But if they went less with it, you still would have felt the same way at the end, right? You still would have been a blubbering little...
We got the picture, yeah.
They did kind of hit you over the head with it, didn't they?
She still would have died in the end. I still would have been sad about it in the end. Yeah.
Oh, did you like the extra little bit of crying sauce when she's reading Wizard of Oz to the little kid for the last part of her being alive?
Oh, I feel like that was unneeded.
A little more sap
it was
on this.
Cute, but yeah, it was an unneeded scene.
You might as well have painted a target right on her forehead at that point. Yeah, why was that in there? You could have cut that.
All I was thinking was ew.
I was either that little girl is dead or she is dead.
That child is sticky. It's covered in ice cream.
Yeah.
Ew. Don't touch it.
You're talking about the book, not the kid, right?
Both. No, don't eat the ice cream over the book.
I would have changed, like I said before, that ending part where Willem Dafoe was talking. I was I just wanted it to be more personal between them, him coming to the realization, not Willem Dafoe just coming in, you have to let her go. It's maybe if that was more subtle and they weren't, the group that was with him wasn't so, hard pressed with it.
So straightforward about it.
Yeah. I would have liked that a lot more. I think it still would have had as much weight.
Would you have been happy with Willem Dafoe coming in and saying...
As the Green Goblin?
And saying, Odd, it's time.
No, I wanted him to come with a glider through the window and just point at him and say, finish it! As he's praying. I wanted that.
They could have, done that, though. Grabbed him and said, it's time, and then taken him to the funeral. And
just
then
a different phrase, it's time.
No!
Yeah, or the funeral, and then...
Time to go. Something like that.
Yeah. Or are you ready to identify the body?
Are you ready to identify her?
Or you just...
And then he
or
turns
even
around,
just,
sees
are you ready
her,
to
and
go
then
yet?
that whole thing.
Are
Yeah.
you ready to go?
Yeah. Something along those lines.
Or like they've just released the bodies from the shooting or something.
Yeah, they just released her body.
Released the bodies. Or something.
Or her body. That's all you would need.
They did say her body.
Yeah.
They just released her body. They did say that.
Yeah, it would have.
But you didn't need Willem Dafoe. You just say that, he turns around, then everybody has that realization, and then it hits you. Like, you would figure it out yourself and not Willem Dafoe being like, hold on, I know you all people at home are pretty stupid, so I'm going to spell it out for you. I am the Green Goblin.
This entire time, it's actually
now
been
let
Willem
me
Dafoe's
have a conversation
ghost.
with myself in a mirror.
You were saying?
You just have it turns out to be Willem Dafoe's ghost from Spider-Man.
That would be the best ghost ever.
He just turns around the front and the
walking
glider's
around
still in the
with
hail.
spikes coming out of his chest.
He has 3 blood wounds. If that was the case, I would not have my phone for the second viewing. But how about everybody else? With the second viewing in about a week, I would peek at my phone a couple of times. The movie wouldn't keep my attention fully, but it's all right.
There would be certain scenes that you would be waiting for just to either confirm or say, okay, that's what I did.
Yeah,
miss.
I would look like what you said with the little things about the glass is empty and all that. I would look out for that more.
Same. Like, I would have to see it again just to make sure I paid more attention to little details that I missed the first time. But yeah, I have no idea whether or not I would.
The phone would be in your hands.
It might be next to me. If a text message comes through, I'm sure I will pick it up and read it.
And you, Jenny?
I guess it depends, because I'm kind of leaning towards what Janos said, that I think I want to read the book and then maybe watch the movie again just to see like how close, it is.
Yeah, see if
fills
in some of those gaps.
Yeah, fill in some of the gaps and like answer some of those questions.
Yeah, I just read online that the first book or the movie's based off the first book.
Oh.
And now our podcast is going to turn into a reading group.
Yeah, really. This is the second movie we've done.
I can't read. What are you talking about?
The second movie we've podcasted that was based on a book.
Yes.
All right. So, anything else from anybody?
Nope.
I think we pretty much covered everything.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Thank you all for joining us. You can find us on Facebook at /STMTWT. If you want to hit us up on Twitter, we're at STMTWT Podcast. And if you want to email us with recommendations, comments, questions, concerns, you can find us at stmtwt@gmail.com. Thank you all for joining. Take care.
What the hell are you talking about? Who are you talking to?